So I reached out to Paul on LinkedIn when I was trying to get into medical sales. He has like a YouTube link he sent me also to watch. It's pretty much explaining his background and his sort of how he got into medical sales.
Trying to get into the business, like where do you start? The biggest thing is your network. And if you don't have a network, you got to figure out where you can go and start creating one.
And not only did he immediately respond back to me, but he pretty much gave me everything I needed to know on how to get even started, to applying everywhere and not taking no.
Next, you change the energy when you're in the mix that much. Repetitions. Use the process as practice. Interview 1, interview 2, interview 3. Now you're honing in your skills. It's not the first time you heard that question. You're answering the question, but then you're giving context to the answer.
And pretty much before every interview I had, I just talked to Paul and he'd give me the best advice, like don't take no for an answer. I'll be persistent.
To get into medical device, you have to have experience. Well, then how did anybody actually ever get in to the industry? Because if you always had to have experience, then no one would have ever gotten in. Transition or shift the experience that they do have and create parallels.
Always making sure that you have your portfolio together, making sure that every win that you have, you document it.
They want to see your tools. A construction worker, it's a little concerning if the guy shows up, he doesn't have toolbox, all his stuff. Even maybe some custom things. I like custom. Got a guy, he's got, something special he made. He's like, I didn't like how they did it, so I did it this way. It's kind of nice. So come with your custom tools. Hey, I built this out to help me manage my current state of business. This is why I did it. Company didn't have it. I'm tired of waiting on people.
Selling yourself for medical sales.
They want to see how you did it. Not that you did it. The yes is easy. Did you do that? Yeah. Okay, tell me about a time you did that.
Paul's like the person that not only when I first got hired for my first medical sales job to reach out to, I also told him first, like before I told anybody, and he was just equally as happy as I was for me even getting hired and staying persistent, and it was all because of him. So I'm very thankful for him.
When you're desperate, waiting for the one job to come, guess when it comes? Never. But when you have 10, 15 different jobs working, have you ever done this? Yeah, I did that. That's on interview 1. Interview 2, oh yeah, I did that. Oh, let me tell you about how I did it. And when you have time to let that thought germinate, you can talk to yourself and you can say, hey, I should have answered that differently. Share your experience. By the time you're in interview 7, we can take situations in our own personal life and draw from those experiences. In order to achieve that, you have to work at scale. You have to increase your own odds. 10, 4, 2, close with 1. Transferable skills. These are all, product is a little bit irrelevant. Everything when it comes to moving the needle is a process. Yeah, your approach and what you're selling, the technicalities may change, but your process working with people who are actually going to endorse, influence, or buy, it's just people. What's stopping you from signing today? The sales game has transitioned to somebody that helps facilitate the sale process, helps to guide the customer along the pathway. Because a lot of other sales, you sell and then you move on to the next. Here, these are people that you're constantly selling to over and over again. So that relationship, that reputation, that brand awareness that you're creating is vital. Can you communicate a message? And can you do it without annoying somebody? Sell more and don't hurt anybody in the process. You feel any reservations? Pull. You're extracting negative juice out. Because when you can extract negative juice out, you can flavor it with some sugar. Everybody can be engaged when you're present with somebody, when you're there in the presence of. But how engaged are you with a process when no one's there, when no one's watching? That's one of the big difference makers. I call it like mind share. So it's this behind the scenes stuff that I think that you can really elevate, right? Because you remember, you ain't the only one they're interviewing. There's probably 10 of you, maybe 20. Because a lot of times they say in life that the game is won before you even step on the field. Like a one fundamental approach is trying to understand people's story. Because when you understand the full story, you can learn. Like when you do that background work, what you're also doing is you're creating a connection, right? When you can connect somebody else's story with your own story, you create that synapses or that connection. Deliver on it and then one up it. But again, this is important. The one up, you have to make sure you're not overbearing. You have to create space. It's like in language. If you're always just delivering words, it all starts to sound like mumbo jumbo. But when we give space between the wording, it resonates more. Send an email at 6 p.m. and then send another one at 6 a.m. Tact with the approach.
Dr. Johnson, I'm going to review a couple things here as you scrub in right before the case. Traction and counter traction. Define that plane between the tonsil and the tonsil bed.
But I can't back down.
I started out as an associate. Thank you, Paul. If you guys don't know, Paul is the greatest surgeon stalker out there. When he sees a surgeon, the hair on the neck stands up and crouches and looks like he's going to go bite the guy's neck until he can't breathe anymore. Thank you, Paul.
Paul led the region in growth at 463%, while selling just shy of $3 million.
Proud to see Paul at 124% growth.
We're just recapping this knee here.
Years of
handsome guy.
All right, I'll take that.
He's very pleasant, very easy to talk to, and very helpful.
Paul is the Director of Business Development from Pure AI.
You could build an AI off of 100 images, but how good is it going to be? We've impacted almost 600,000 lives. You kind of turn up the dial and write one thing down that you want to do for your territory. I would say just maybe do something big. We can all put flavor